So last week we set a goal of narrating the positive, and I noticed how you held them to 100% of the directions when you were narrating your expectations for them. So what do you think made this so successful? What actions did you do that you think that was a success, that they're listening?
I think just consistently since that week, pointing out, okay, I'm still waiting, we're waiting.
Mm-hmm.
They've gotten into the habit of you are the person holding up your classmates, and now no one wants to be that person. They want to be the person who's noticed first for, okay, you got ready the quickest, like you were where you need to be.
Good. Okay, I'll give you some more.
Okay.
Your eye contact. Sometimes you don't necessarily say anything, but you give them that look, and so they're like, oh, okay, I'll get it.
Yeah.
Definitely when you're clipping up and down, that like you said, like they're noticing, oh, I don't want to be clipped down or up for that, or I want to be clipped up for that. And in your tone, when you set your tone, you're like, nope, this is what I need you to do right now. So that's fine. So that was great. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to dive into implementing a clear I do of your lesson plan to help the students with really mastering those key components of what you want. So I'm going to model that lesson. Take notes on what do you see me do as I model this lesson. All right, so boys and girls, today we're going to work on changing an improper fraction to a mixed number. We have been working on improper fractions, but now we're moving into mixed numbers. And the reason we are doing that is because in the real world, we don't really say 7/4. We change it and we say 1 3/4 of something. So here's how we're going to do that. So the first step that you're going to need to do is you're going to determine the denominator by counting the equal parts of the shape. So if I look up here, the equal parts of my shape, how many pieces are inside of my shape? You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I know that my denominator is going to be 6. Right? That's the first step. Now the second part is we're going to count the shaded parts and label as the fraction. So inside of your shape, you'll see I have 1 6, 2 6, 3 6, 4 6, 5 6, 6 6. Go over, now I have 7 6, 8 6, and 9 6. What is my fraction? Now my fraction is 9 6. Okay? So we know that this is improper fraction because you've been working on this, our numerator is larger than our denominator. So now we need to change this improper fraction into a mixed number. Let's go back and review our steps for when we're doing our mixed numbers. Same thing you're going to do. You're going to determine the denominator by counting the equal parts of the shape. So if you look at my anchor chart, let's count our equal parts of our shape. How many pieces is this shape divided into? 1, 2, 3, 4. So our denominator is going to be 4. Let's look up here. What is my denominator for this one? Count our equal parts of the shape. 1, 2, 3. So my denominator is going to be 3. You must find your denominator first. Okay.
8 is more than 6, right? This is an improper fraction because I have more in my numerator than I.
What are some of the gaps between the model and then the class video that you noticed?
I think teacher modeling it more times for them.
Absolutely. Why would that be a benefit?
I think they needed to see more of the think aloud process and just see it.
Okay, exactly.
More.
Yep. Anything else?
And clear steps, like numbering out the steps, and then reviewing the steps and summarizing.
Yes, great job. That's exactly what I had on here as well, is steps to follow, and I would, going back, it seems so minute, but like just having those 3 things up there and keep referring back to that to get their brains, that's what I have to do. Yep, absolutely. Yep. Thing is being able to internalize your lesson plans and being able to read that lesson plan and say, okay, how can I identify what are the key action steps that I need to take here for these kids to master this concept? And how you do that is you need to like eliminate some of those extra words and just be concise on what you want your students to be able to understand after that. And that would help you to internalize your lesson plan. Okay. So what you're gonna work on is internalizing the I do portion of the lesson plan, and then remove extra words. How you're gonna do that is you're gonna remove extra words from your lesson plan to help you internalize what is the clear I do part of it, okay? So what's your action step for today?
Removing extra words to help internalize those clear steps.
The
of
clear steps, the I
lesson
do.
for that.
Good, okay, write that down. Your action step right here. So we're gonna take 5 minutes to remove all the extra words from your lesson plan and nail down your clear how of your lesson. And then you'll write your script of what you will do and say to implement your action step. And I'll do the same thing, and then we can compare ours and how we'll do it. So that's what you'll take the lesson that you
Okay.
did teach, internalize it by writing your clear steps. And I'll set my timer for this. So let's compare our plans, and then we can pull from each of ours and make ours the strongest. So what did you have for your?
So for step 1, I said determine the denominator by counting the equal parts in one whole.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if one whole or shape is more clear to them, because I'm just trying to make sure they know that it's only in one of them, that they're not counting 8.
I think I like that. I think determine the denominator, counting the equal parts in the shape that is that is the whole.
Yeah.
Okay, so keeping the equal parts in the shape that is the whole, right? That is the one that is the whole. Okay, because I think if you they need to hear both,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to counting the equal parts in
Well, and so
one
when they do
whole.
this on a number line, because they also learn how to do mixed numbers on a number line, it won't be in a shape. It'll be from 0 to 1 in that whole. One. In that
Okay.
one
So
number.
counting the equal parts in the whole, in one whole. Okay, no, I think I like yours. I think I like that, in one whole. Okay, all right, good. That's your first step.
And then 2, I just say count the number of holes that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3, I said count the shaded part of the shapes not a hole.
Okay. Count the shaded parts of the other shapes the other shape that is not the whole, right?
Yes.
So we have a couple steps to create a mixed number. So the first thing that we have to do is determine our denominator by counting the equal parts of one whole. So when I'm looking up here at my shapes, I see this shape, this red rectangle is one whole. So I'm counting my pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my denominator for my fraction will be 6. Now I have to count the number of holes that I have. So I know that I had that one whole rectangle. So I have one hole. Now I have to count the shaded parts of the shape that is not a hole. So when I look over at this shape, I only have 1, 2, 3 pieces shaded out of my 6 pieces. So my mixed number is 1 and 3 6. Counting my holes, I have 1, 2 shapes, and the whole thing is shaded in. So I have 2 holes. And now I have to count the shaded parts of the numbers not a hole. So I see I have 1 piece that is, I have 1 piece in my not a hole. So now I have 2 and 1/3 as my mixed number to represent this model.
So
So now
there, that's what.
that would be the final.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Showing them that 1 plus
1 plus the 1.
Mhm.
Okay. So I had 1 whole plus 1 whole is 2. So 2 and 1/3 is our mixed number.
And I would refer to my anchor chart. Okay,
Okay.
boys and girls, now it's your turn. So go ahead and practice that. And kind of refer to that, the anchor
Okay.
chart. That's the first step.
So now we're going to practice doing this together. So remember, we have our steps up here. So first we have to determine the denominator by counting the equal parts of a whole. So how many equal parts are in one whole?
4.
Great, so we have 4 parts in 1 whole, so our denominator is going to be 4.
Nothing else on there. I just left it like that.
And now we have to look at step 2. So next we have to count the number of holes that we have. So how many whole shapes do you see shaded up there?
3.
Great, so we have 3 holes. After we figure out how many holes we have, now we need to count the shaded part of our shapes that are not a hole. So how many pieces are shaded and are not a whole shape?
1.
1. So we have 1 piece shaded. So our mixed number is 3 1/4. And then I guess when that's up, like projected on the whiteboard, we can label
Yes, that's what
underneath of them.
Yes, that's what I would do. Like 1
Plus 1, like
plus
how
one,
one other
yes,
one is adding.
we could even add 1 more slide,
Another guided.
another guided, I think,
Yeah.
for them to practice.
Okay.
All right, good. You can pause that. So how did what we practiced meet the action step that we named that we were gonna do?
So it removed a lot of those extra fluff words that I think kind of confused them, and it gave them those clear steps, and I'm able to remember those clear 3 steps
Awesome.
to go through with them.
Absolutely, okay. So I'll be in this afternoon whenever you're doing this lesson, and if I see that you're struggling with anything, so what I'll do is I'll go like this, which means back to your script.
Okay.
Go back to your script. And then if I see they're getting it with the pacing of the lesson, I'm gonna be like get through this next one.
Okay.
If they're catching on, since
Yeah.
this will be like a reteach, so we'll have to see how the kids are
Like that,
acting with
yeah.
this. Then
Mhm.
for me, so that I can look at them and I'll be looking for that I do part of it.
Mhm.
Like what are you gonna take out of that? Yep. And then I'll be able to provide you feedback for that. Does that help? For your clear action steps that you'll be taking moving forward.
So removing extra words
Mhm.
to internalize that I do part and having clear steps
Good.
for what they're working through.
Okay. And what's the cue I will give you if I need you to
So sticking to the script is
Mhm.
this, and speeding up
speak up?
is
Yeah, I'll go like this, like
Yeah. fake sound.
quickly. All right, good. All right, go ahead and write your cues down.
So my 1 whole shape, I have 1, 2, 3 parts. So my denominator is 3. Step 2, I have to count the holes, Charleston Danae.